Can someone vet it for me? Like I want to know how long they believe that it would take. Can they set the parameters that the court is? I don't want her whole phone dumped. That is against the law. And there is a way, I think.
I will talk to the expert, see if there's a way to do it as is described here, almost like a piecemeal pull.
I don't want to sell Bright. First of all, I don't have the bandwidth to look through somebody's phone like that. Okay, I thought the best I could, narrow categories, and that's all I believe that should be produced. I don't want our whole phone. I don't want. That's against the law, period. Okay, so.
Let me find out then if that's the capabilities, and we can take it from there, Your Honor. But I would still say that the bill be presented to the defense and they can pay for it since they want it. Ms. Bridegan shouldn't have to pay for it.
If I may, Mr. Green is former law enforcement. He's worked on forensics, both on the state level and the federal level. He can answer the court's questions regarding capability if the court is willing.
Mr. Green, if you raise your right hand and be sworn in. What? Okay. Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole?
We were more or less fighting for the kids to have a chance and for Shanna to have majority decision making. Okay, I'm going to stop there. That's different than majority time sharing. That's just decision making for health decisions, correct?
I believe that he wanted them to have control over the children. That's how I perceived his statement.
That's how you perceived it. But yes. The words are.
I'm objecting to this line of questioning because it's calling for
let
speculation.
me see your side button.
Madam Court Reporter?
May proceed.
Thank you. I want to make sure we know exactly where we left off because I want every word to be considered in this paragraph because this is the part where you learned about the majority time sharing, correct?
Okay.
So I left off exactly with decision making. So the first thing that Mr. Fernandez said after you were discussing the therapy was that it would be better if maybe she got decision making. That's the word that Mr. Fernandez used, correct?
Right.
Okay. And then, in the next sentence, Mr. Fernandez says, if she could have more timeshare on her end, if it was 60-40 or whatever, we could bend it just enough, it'd be great because the kids would be better off. If we could push them into the corner of all the interaction with the kids, we need all to be together so they could just suck it. I don't care if they're suffering because they are uncomfortable, okay? And he was obviously not referring to the children being uncomfortable, he was referring to the Bridigans, correct?
Correct.
And this whole concept that you told the jury yesterday for motive was that Miss Gardner, you believed, and Mr. Fernandez wanted majority time sharing is what you said, correct?
That's what the transcript says.
Right. But 60-40, meaning 10% more time sharing, Detective Johns, correct? That's what Mr. Fernandez said, correct?
In the transcript, yes.
Right. So in the transcript, he's saying if we could just bend it slightly, it would be better off for the children, correct?
That's what the transcript says.
And 60-40 is 2 days a month, correct?
Okay.
Nowhere in that transcript does Mr. Fernandez ever say that they were trying to take away Mr. Bridegan's time sharing, correct?
I think if you look at the total context of the interview,
yeah,
I believe he was saying that they wanted them to have majority control over the children.
By way of 10% more. I mean, a majority is 51%. I mean, you know from your business background, that's what a majority means, correct?
Yes.
So he says 60-40, 10% more is the majority.
Yes.
We're not speculating because you keep saying, well, that's what Mr. Fernandez said. That's exactly what Mr. Fernandez said. If we could just have 60-40, we could bend it just a little bit, the kids would be better off. That's what he said.
That's what the transcript says.
You keep holding it against me, please. Do you recall in the interview that Mr. Fernandez kept saying, I don't know why he got out of the car?
Yes, sir.
And let's talk about those interviews again. It is not uncommon that in law enforcement, a person can give a detail during an interview where they shouldn't know that detail, correct? Let me ask a better question. Sometimes there are details about a crime scene that only people that were at the crime scene are aware of. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes when people give interviews, they oust themselves by accident, revealing a detail that only somebody at the crime scene or law enforcement would know, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And when Mr. Fernandez was interviewed, it was a couple weeks after the homicide.
Yes.
An important detail that this jury should know is that you had not released to the media that the tire was in the road. That was not public information.
I do know it was released eventually. I don't remember the exact timeline that it was released.
Okay. I'm not concerned about when it was released.
Okay.
What I'm concerned about is that at the time Mr. Fernandez was interviewed, you know that it had not been released at that point.
Correct.
That's what I'm asking you. So when he's saying, I don't know why he would get out of the car, he doesn't know that there was a tire in the road, correct?
I don't know I can't testify to what he knows or doesn't know.
He doesn't say anything about a tire, correct?
Not during the interview, no.
Right. He says something about maybe he knew the person in front of him, or maybe I just can't imagine why he didn't run him over. He gives all sorts of, hypotheticals as to what happened, but he never mentions that there's a blockade or a tire or anything obstructing the roadway. Never even suggests that at all, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I'm so sorry. I meant to ask you that question and I forgot. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes. Mr. Dreiser, can we take a break shortly?
It was public knowledge that Mr. Bridegan was killed outside of his vehicle, correct? That had been released.
I don't dispute that. I just don't know exactly what was and wasn't released.
To ask it real simple, there's not a single fact that Mr. Fernandez said to you regarding his hypotheticals of what could have happened that gave you any concern that he had more information than he should about the crime that occurred?
At the time of the interview, no.
Right. Henry Tenon's information, correct?
That's correct.
And then they were able to use geolocation to determine where Henry Tenon's devices went during the course of your investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And January 5th is one of the days in which you anticipate that Agent Blythe is going to testify about because you provided him information on those days, correct?
Yes, sir.
So without going into what the evidence shows specifically, you agree that on January 5th, not early in the afternoon in the first slide I showed you, later in the afternoon, Mr. Tenon's devices appear to travel from the Potomac address to Jack's Beach.
Yes, sir.
That you're comfortable saying?
Yes.
Okay. On this particular slide, page 9, you've added the crime scene, right?
Yes, sir.
You have no information that Henry Tenon's device went to the crime scene on January 5th, correct?
Based upon the slide and the data points that are here, it doesn't show that.
Okay, can you go to the next slide, please? I'm sorry, the next page number. This is a more zoomed in location of where the Fernandez residence, the location of interest is, correct?
Yes, sir.
All of this is Henry Tenon's device, correct?
That's correct.
Looking at page 9 or 10, you have no information as to where Mario Fernandez is on January 5th.
Not on the slide, no.
Okay. And I'll give you an opportunity to look at all of the slides from January 5th. But in all of the information that you provided the FBI on January 5th, you have no information as to where Mario Fernandez is on that date, correct?
There are no data points available, correct?
There are no data points available, therefore, you don't know where Mario Fernandez was on January 5th, correct?
There is no physical evidence to say where he was at.
Okay. Do you agree that's the same thing as saying you don't know where he was at?
Correct.
Could be at his house.
Correct.
Could be anywhere else, you have no idea. Now let's talk more generally about these 10mm, not unicorns, not golden goose weapons, okay? You did try in an investigative effort to see what you could find in Jacksonville regarding 10mm weapons, correct?
Yes, sir.
And about a month after the homicide, for whatever reason, you chose to go, or you and your investigative team, to Beach's Pawn. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
That's just one pawn shop out of, I don't know, probably 100 or more pawn shops in town.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just one that you picked?
We just, it happens to be the only licensed firearms dealer in our jurisdiction. Due to the nature of pawn shops, we have a relationship with the owner. So we went to the pawn shop in Jacks Beach that we knew that we could go to the owner and ask for his assistance.
And he assisted you?
Yes, he did.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked and put into evidence as Defense Exhibit 55. I don't think it matters. Just show one for the moment. Okay. When you went to the pawn shop, you were able to get some paperwork regarding 10mm firearms that were sold by Beach's Pawn, correct?
That's correct.
And at the only pawn shop that you went to, in your jurisdiction, 6 10mm firearms had been sold when you went on March 15th of 2022. That's the evidence that you were provided, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And out of the 6 transactions that are in evidence, every single one of them, and do you see the blacked out portions, Detective Johns?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to represent to you that we redacted their names, and do you agree that's just where someone who purchased a 10mm did so at Beach's Pawn?
Yes, sir.
And do you agree just to protect their privacy, that's why we did that?
That's correct.
There's no other information on that sheet that gives you any more information other than, in this particular case, a Glock 40 10mm firearm, correct?
Correct.
And I'll show all of them to you if you need to, but would you agree with me that out of the 6 that were sold from Beach's Pawn, 3, 50%, were Glock 10mm firearms?
Correct.
The exact model and the exact caliber, thank you, of firearm that you were looking for.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't interview any of those 6 people, correct?
No, we did not.
You just looked and you saw whether or not they were associated in any. You just scratched them off your list.
That's correct.
Mr. Fernandez isn't associated with a blue two-tone truck, correct?
No.
Do you have any records from any of the dozens or maybe 100 other licensed firearms dealers in the greater Jacksonville area that I can show this jury of how many other 10mm were sold?
I don't have numbers of that. And we developed no leads from any of the ones that were looked at.
You only looked at 6.
Correct.
No leads because you didn't talk to anybody, right?
Right, no leads.
You can see Mr. Fernandez pulling out, correct?
Yes,
So he came back a second time in the day. Looks like 2 people got out of the vehicle. And all the stuff that was in the back of the vehicle is no longer in the vehicle when it pulls out.
that's correct.
Doesn't take a rocket science to determine that they dropped off what they had brought over.
Correct.
I'm now going to show you a video from August 16th. It's about a week later, correct?
Yes,
Defense Exhibit 33C, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Detective Johns, same house,
yes,
same poll camera.
yes,
It's 8/16/2022,
yes,
and it's 6:43 p.m.
that's correct.
Jeremy Ordway's vehicle is in the driveway.
Yes,
There's a white Crown Vic in the driveway.
yes,
Tell the jury whose white Crown Vic that is,
Mr. Ordway's father,
and who was known to drive that vehicle.
Mr. Tenon.
Mr. Tenon had not been arrested yet, correct?
Correct.
Stop. A week later, and Mr. Fernandez's vehicle pulls up, correct?
Yes,
You're not disputing that's Mr. Fernandez.
no,
You're not disputing that there's more materials in the back of the car.
No.
The bed of the truck, excuse me.
no,
Those are consistent with the same type of construction material. Well, I'm not going to say, we don't know. Same boxes that were dropped off and unloaded back on August 9th, correct?
yes,
Pause it. There's a black dog. Do you see that?
yes.
Tell the jury whose black dog that is.
It was Mr. Tenon's dog.
That's the same dog that when Mr. Tenon was arrested was with Mr. Tenon, correct?
That's correct.
It's the same dog that we heard from Detective Burrell when Mr. Tenon got out of his car. He put a dog bowl down. You weren't in here, but I'm sure you know that from Detective Burrell.
Yes,
It's because Mr. Tenon had a little black dog or a medium-sized black dog.
yes.
Okay? No dispute, Mr. Fernandez got out of his vehicle?
No,
That is Mr. Fernandez.
yes,
It appears Mr. Fernandez got a couple white bags out of the back of his cab,
yes,
and he appears to be carrying those white bags into the Potomac rental property that he owns, correct?
yes.
This is very loud. It's really important. And, well, I don't know how long it is. Let's go very slow. Okay, stop. All right, Detective Johns. That's Henry Tenon, correct?
Yes.
So on 8/16, some 6 months post the homicide, Henry Tenon comes out of the Potomac address home, and he's going to start unloading construction materials from Mr. Fernandez's truck and bringing him inside, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez is with Mr. Tenon. He hasn't distanced himself from Mr. Tenon, correct?
No,
They're on camera together.
that's correct. There was not.
Now, pause it. This is another poll camera from 8/27/2022 at 6:08 p.m. Okay? Same poll camera,
Yes.
same address.
Yes.
What's important about this date is we can all agree Mr. Tenon has been arrested, correct?
Yes.
And you don't dispute that although Mr. Tenon was arrested for a driving offense, law enforcement went to Potomac that day and spoke to Jeremy Ordway, correct?
That's correct.
Detectives from the homicide unit, Detective Cullen and your partner, Detective Lamont, arrived, and they told Jeremy Ordway that Henry Tenon was arrested in connection for the murder of Jared Bridegan, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Fernandez, he knows at this point that Henry Tenon had been arrested in connection to the murder of his wife's ex-husband, correct?
I would assume so, yes.
Right. We have to assume that. And I'm glad that you agree. And yet, even with that fact, Mr. Fernandez doesn't distance himself from the Potomac address, does he?
No.
No, because this is... All right, pause. Detective Johns, let's introduce a new character to the jury. Whose vehicle is that?
I'm actually not sure whose vehicle that is.
I told you it was John Biggerstaff's vehicle? Is that...
Oh, that's right. Yes, it is. I apologize.
Okay, so we don't disagree, that's John Biggerstaff's vehicle, right?
Yes.
And again, you know, because of other investigative efforts, that John Biggerstaff was to perform tile work at the Potomac. We've talked about that.
Yes.
And now we see John Biggerstaff showing up at the Potomac address, right?
Yes.
What? Sorry. And if I didn't ask you, early in the video, you saw Mr. Fernandez. This time he parked on the grass.
Yes.
Okay. So he's there as well.
Yes.
And just so there's no confusion, can you see the black dog?
Yes.
And you can see the Crown Vic, correct?
That's correct.
Can you pause it? Because this is important, but I want to make sure everyone understands the facts. Henry Tenon's in jail.
Yes.
They allowed him to park, instead of his vehicle being towed, someone took it and put it back at this address, right?
I believe Mr. Ordway came and got the vehicle.
Right. So just because we see the vehicle this particular time, we know Henry Tenon is not there.
That's correct.
And although we see his dog, we know he's not there because Mr. Ordway agreed to take custody and possession of Henry Tenon's dog after he got arrested, right?
That's correct.
Just another little piece of proof that they were friends, right?
Yes.
Ex-husband.
Yes, he did.
Do you recall when he called you in relation to when the homicide occurred?
It was after he called me we were talking, kind of chatting, catching up about work. Can't remember the exact context of the beginning of the call. And then he said that he thought that the kid's dad had died and he thinks that it was a hit and run, was what he told me specifically.
And do you remember how close in time that was? Was the day after, a few days, weeks, months?
I believe that it was a few days after, but I'm not exact on that. But I know it was after it happened.
Did he give any more details other than it was a hit and run?
No, he did not.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Kudus. I don't have any further questions.
All right, thank you.
Write any of this down, or is this all from your memory that he said something about a contract marriage?
This is all from just conversations that we had. It was not written down.
Right. So you're just recalling that he said something like this, but what you may or may not know, let me ask you, did you know that Mr. Fernandez was the trustee of the family trust?
I did not know that, no.
Did you know that Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez had a postnuptial agreement?
No, he did not refer to it to me as a post-nuptial agreement.
He may have referred to you as a contract, right? Because that's the word that
Yes,
you
he
seem
did.
to have remembered, right?
Correct.
A postnuptial agreement is just a contract between two people on how they're going to separate their belongings. You agree with that, right?
Correct.
Okay, and you can't recall as you sit here today the specifics of what he was talking about in that contract situation, right?
He never disclosed the specifics of the contract. He just referred to it as a contract and, again, was aloof with those details to me. So
Did you ever ask him what he was referring to?
I don't remember if I asked him specifically. I just remember he reiterated that it was a contract. That was the word that stuck out in my mind.
Gotcha. But as you sit here, you don't recall whether you even asked him what he was referring to, right?
I don't recall the specifics, no.
And you don't remember the specifics of your conversations with him. And I think you've, in fact, told me before that none of this is for verbatim, correct?
Correct. I think just the timeline and like the specifics of conversation, I can't remember exactly what was said and when.
Right.
For that specific conversation regarding the contract.
Because you had a lot of conversations with him and you just don't have a recollection. That's because you didn't write anything down, right?
I don't think I did write anything down, no.
So let's be real clear about another concept. Mr. Fernandez calls and he tells you that Jared Bridegan died, and you recall that he said something about a hit and run, correct?
Yes, he did.
But again, you don't remember that verbatim, correct?
I do remember that stuck out in my mind. I do remember that he said those words.
Do you know if Mr. Fernandez knew the details of the homicide at that point, 1 or 2 or 3 days after the homicide?
All he said was they think it was a hit and run. That's what stuck out in my mind.
Okay. Did you know that the person who's responsible for this homicide ran away from the scene?
I don't know really any other details. I haven't followed
Okay. But in
this
fact,
closely.
in this particular homicide, this jury has since learned that the person who shot Mr. Bridegan ran away from the scene. You didn't know that, did you?
I think I knew some of the details. I think I knew that there was another individual involved, but I don't know like the specific nuances of like
All right. So
how it all played out.
And you know that not because Mr. Fernandez told you that. That's because you looked things up after Mr. Fernandez told you about Mr. Bridegan passing away or dying, correct?
I did look it up, yes.
Yeah. And you followed it in the media, correct?
Yes, I haven't followed it closely though.
All right.
Since, yeah.
But let me be real clear about this question. You never contacted law enforcement and said, you know what? I've read this stuff in the media. Mr. Fernandez told me some stuff about a contract and a hit and run. I think you ought to know that. That never happened, did it, Ms. Kudus?
I'm not sure I'm following what you mean.
Law enforcement contacted you, correct?
Yes, correct.
You never contacted law enforcement, correct?
No, I did not.
And when law enforcement finally did decide to contact you, when they did, you have previously told me it wasn't because you thought it had anything to do with this case. You thought it had to do with a personal issue in your own co-parenting case, your own family law case, correct?
When they came to our house in North Carolina, I was not aware or sure what it was. I did think that it had to do with my husband's ex-wife at the time, just because we were kind of going through some high conflict issues.
And even after you looked up this case, you never thought Mr. Fernandez was a suspect?
Well, when they came to my house and they asked to interview me about him, that told me that he was probably, or I believe the terminology at the time was, a suspect.
Yeah. That's when you learned it, which was many, many months after the homicide when they came to your house, correct?
Correct.
But you looked it up on the internet after Mr. Fernandez told you about the death of Mr. Bridegan, correct?
Yes, I think he told me as just like he passed, like he said it was a hit and run. They think it was a hit and run. Like, I don't think there was anything else to it than that. Like, so I looked it up after the fact to see what he meant. Like, what, if anything, was in the news about it. Like, I don't think that there was anything.
And despite all of that, before law enforcement came to your house many months later, you never considered him a suspect.
Objection, Your Honor.
Grounds.
He's asking for an opinion.
Sure.
What's your response?
It's literally her testimony. What someone... We need to approach the court reporter. I've asked this question before. I know the answer.
Okay, I'll hear you out.
Madam Court Reporter?
May proceed.
Ms. Kunis, with all of the information that was provided to you from Mr. Fernandez, over all of the different conversations that you had, over all of the months and years leading up to the homicide of Jared Bridegan, you never thought to contact law enforcement and report any of those details to them?
I don't know what you mean. Like, what would I have reported to them? I guess I'm confused by your question.
You did not contact law enforcement and give them any of the details that you testified on direct examination to, correct?
No.
No, meaning that is correct. You did not contact law enforcement.
I did not contact him after he told me, no.
Or any time until they came to your door, correct?
Correct.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
Redirect.
Once again.
Ms. Kudis, when law enforcement came to your house, you thought it significant enough to tell them the information you've testified to today?
Yes, correct.
And just to clarify, you remember you said specifically the word contract stood out to you, not a post-nuptial agreement, but the word contract.
Yes.
And you also specifically remember he said it was a contract with her family, not with her.
Yes, with her family specifically.
And he had this conversation in the context of also mentioning these special skills he had from his time in the Army.
Yes.
Yes. And when he described the death of his stepchildren's father, he said it was a hit and run, but did he ever tell you that Jared Bridegan had been shot and killed?
No, he did not. He just used the words, they think it was a hit and run. That is what stuck out in my mind.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kudis. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Make sure you be excused. All right, Ms.
Thank-
Kudis, thank you very much. I'm sorry?
Do I need to show my ID or anything, or?
Oh, no, you're fine.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. You can log
Thank you.
off.
Get through this. The most important question, I guess, for the state of Florida versus Mario Fernandez is, during the course of your comparison, did you find any of Mario Fernandez's DNA on any of the unknown samples that you tested?
We would never say with any certainty that we found someone's DNA on an item or that a person is definitely a contributor. What we would describe our results as is there support for inclusion of this person as a possible contributor? And to summarize the results from this case with respect to Mr. Fernandez Saldana, of the unknown profiles that had components or were entirely suitable for comparison, there was no support for inclusion of Mr. Fernandez Saldana as a possible contributor to the components that were suitable for comparison.
Same question with regard to Shanna Gardner. There was no inclusion of anything that you tested of her.
Same characterization with respect to the comparisons to Ms. Gardner. There was no support for inclusion of Ms. Gardner as a possible contributor to the suitable components of profiles that were suitable for comparison.
Or any of the police officers that you got known samples for?
Correct. We received a number of elimination samples from various law enforcement officials, and there was no support for inclusion of any of those individuals to any of the suitable components of profiles that were suitable for comparison.
Or Justin Bridegan, the brother of Jared Bridegan, no inclusion there?
There was no support for inclusion of Justin Bridegan to any of the profile components that were suitable for comparison.
Two more names, Jeremy Ordway and Jimmy Jones. Same question.
I know we received a reference sample from Mr. Ordway. I'm not sure about Mr. Jones. Could you refer to an exhibit number?
Yeah. It may take me a second. We'll go on to another part, and my co-counsel can find that.
I can't answer with respect to Mr. Ordway that there was no support for inclusion of Mr. Ordway as a contributor to any of the profile components that were suitable for comparison.
So now we'll get to, I guess, the meat of it, which is, did you find any DNA consistent with the known reference sample of Henry Tenon?
There were a number of questioned evidence items that were tested that yielded results that were suitable for comparison. And on comparison to Mr. Tenon's reference sample, there was support for inclusion of Mr. Tenon as a possible contributor to some of the evidence items.
Turning to the swab taken from the inner rim of the tire, was that consistent with Mr. Tenon? And could you explain to the jury your statistical analysis on number 11, the swab from the inside of the rim?
So lab exhibit 11 refers to the swab from the inner rim of the tire, and the cutting of that swab and the sample that we generated is lab exhibit 11.1. There was a DNA profile obtained from exhibit 11.1. That was a partial DNA profile consistent with at least 2 contributors. This was further resolved into a major and minor component. The major component was a partial DNA profile consistent with a single contributor. The minor component was not suitable for comparison. Upon comparison of Mr. Tenon's profile, there was support for inclusion of Mr. Tenon as a possible contributor to the major component of exhibit 11.1.
What was the statistical inclusion?
The likelihood ratio value for that comparison was that it was 1.38 million times more likely to observe the DNA profile from exhibit 11.1 if Mr. Tenon were a contributor with an unknown, unrelated individual than if it came from 2 unrelated, unknown individuals.
Okay, turn to the swab of the keys, the silver key that you took. Did you include Henry Tenon as a possible contributor to that silver key swab, number 30?
Lab exhibit 30 was the silver truck key. the sample that we took and generated the profile from, Lab Exhibit 30.1, that was characterized as a DNA profile consistent with 2 contributors with at least 1 male present, and that was suitable for comparison. Upon comparison with Mr. Tenon's reference sample, there was support for inclusion of Mr. Tenon as a possible contributor to that profile. The likelihood ratio was that it was at least 1 trillion times more likely to observe the DNA profile from Exhibit 30.1 if Mr. Tenon was a contributor with an unknown, unrelated individual than if it came from 2 unrelated, unknown individuals.
Turning to 33.4, the cutting from the steering wheel, were you able to include Henry Tenon as a contributor to that?
Lab Exhibit 33.4 corresponds to a swab from the steering wheel of a pickup truck. That profile was a partial profile consistent with 1 individual. That was suitable for comparison. Upon comparison to Mr. Tenon's reference sample, there was support for inclusion of Mr. Tenon. The likelihood ratio was that
I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Cross?
Just briefly, Your Honor, may I do it from defense table?
It's fine.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I didn't catch, where did you come in from?
I work at the Forensic Science Lab Washington, which is located in Maryland, just outside D.C.
You flew in today, sir?
I came in yesterday afternoon.
Welcome, Jacksonville. I just want to make sure the jury's clear. You found nothing to include Mario Fernandez, is that correct?
Of the profiles that were suitable for comparison, there was no support for inclusion of